Took me 2 years to embrace it.
We're still kind of, always got to keep going.
She was just stalling for.
We're good now. Yeah, I was calling for Becky.
All right, now call the meeting to order, a little bit more of a gentle.
Burrows.
Yes.
Stoffel. Yes. Moreno.
Yes.
Vargas. Yes. We have it wrong.
May I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Communication of visitors. This is the time when the community members can make public comments to the board. Please be aware that the board cannot make comment on anything that is said during this time. This is the only time in the agenda reserved for open public comment, and please limit comments to 4 minutes. We have some visitors.
I'm not normally short in my head, so I'll try to cut this. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight for this austere group. I represent the West Liberty Endowment Fund. The Endowment Fund was started in 2016 by a group of people who decided to put money into the Community Foundation of Greater Muscatine. Right now, there's like $57 million in it. We started out, the first investment was Liberty Park. And we started that in 1999, and since then it's grown to 57 million. A lot of the scholarships in Muscatine County are coming through the Community Foundation. In fact, my wife and I will be leaving a legacy, and there'll be scholarships for students at West Liberty when they graduate, when we both die, because that's something that we believe strongly in as education. The West Liberty Endowment Fund annually takes grants or grant requests. We have a limited amount of money that we can donate. This year we had over 20 grant requests. We like to give our money locally within the West Liberty School District, those organizations that apply. And sometimes it maybe is exactly like West Branch is just barely out, but they supported something strongly with the West Liberty School District as far as students and working towards getting a degree and going on to higher education. So we supported that. This year, we selected 3. We weren't able to fund all 3. We're able to fund yours, though, but the other 2 are the Eulenspiegel, a special puppet thing is called North and South, where youngsters can associate themselves with understanding differences in life. The second one was on this street, the West Liberty Heritage Foundation. The Stagecoach House was moved in, and you realize it requires a lot of repair to bring it back to the 1841 standards that it was when it was first built. The third one is here at West Liberty. And I want to say that as we read all the grants, of 20-some grants that were submitted, this definitely rose. Whoever the writer was at the ESL department was above and beyond. Is that first? Oh, well, thank you very much for doing this. Why don't you come up here with me? You know, she's I don't know this young lady, but she is definitely a star. And she's a good grant writer, and we appreciate that very much. And, you know, grant writing is I know for 4 minutes you can cut me off, but you won't get the check. This young lady wrote a wonderful grant to really say, hey, we have an issue within the school system that we have to understand different languages. There are instruments or equipment out there that are able to use in all classrooms to be able to understand, say, a Somalian language or a Spanish language or Egyptian or whatever, and interpret it to whoever the local client is, whether it's English or what have you. I'm going to read you the citation that we'll be putting in the paper, and it reads like this. The West Liberty High School ESL department has been selected for the 2024 Impact Grant by the West Liberty Community Endowment Fund Granting Committee, presenting this check of $1,800 for their initiative, Breaking Language Barriers. The project aims to equip every classroom in the district with translation devices to support the 72 English language learners, ELL, among the 413 students enrolled at the high school in August of 2023. Throughout the 23-24 school year, an additional 14 newcomer high school students, exclusively Spanish speaking, have joined the district, with ELL students constituting approximately 20% of the high school population. These devices are expected to enhance academic performance and attendance by fostering greater inclusivity and communication. Did I miss anything?
No, you're good.
Okay, so we want to present you a check of $1,800, and Adam has consented to take a photograph. And so who is going to be the recipient?
Sean.
Sean Kruger? And
Canada here. Yeah.
and this young lady.
Yeah. Say like that.
So here's the check for $1,800, and it's our pleasure as West Liberty Endowment Fund Committee to grant this to you. I'm not as photogenic as she is. Thank you very much for allowing me to come.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Keep this gal on. Here's the. Oh, but by the way, reports have to be given in order to, you know, how that goes. Don't you?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me. Before we forgot.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, central administration.
No fundraising requests for overnight trips, so we're on to
Just a few things to give to you, and then if you've got any questions, I'll certainly be happy to answer them. I think the biggest thing going into the new school year is our move to Bound from our school. That's been kind of out there, and this morning we sent out the information to get kids registered. So far, so good. Some of you got that email.
I can't figure it out.
If I tell you, you're the first person that said that today, is like, I bet you feel bad. You were busy all day though, so
Yes,
yeah, what can I say? So you can let me know if you continue to have problems, so. But the move is a move we're doing as a conference. It's not just us as a school. For the last, I would say 4 or 5 years, the state has really been pushing everything to Bound as far as paperwork goes for us, and our teams are required to have their schedules, their rosters, their stats in Bound. So it just made sense for us to move everything there. Our school, it did charge us, I can't remember what it was per year. So we are saving that. Bound is free for us to use. So it's going to be a good move. It'll be a little bit hectic. It'll be a little clunky to get everybody used to, instead of going to our school calendars and things like that, going to Bound. But they do have a great app. Their website is really good. We can track all of our activities through Bound. Right now, we're just starting with athletics. At some point here in the fall, we'll get everybody in there. So all of our activities, calendars, schedules, rosters, all that will go through Bound starting now. So ticketing will also be done online. That is one of Bound's requirements that we do. So all ticketing, their goal is that 80% of all ticket sales are done online. They have a little bit of leeway with that this first year. We're going to try to do it as much as we can. All that means is it's everything that we've done with girls postseason athletic events. They have been Bound ticketing for the last 4 or 5 years. The boys have done online ticketing. Theirs is just through Hometown, so it is slightly different, but ours will all be through Bound. There are new ticket prices this year for our athletic events. We did raise them $1 again for high school, so everybody will be $7 at the high school level. We also changed junior high from $4 to $5 for adults, but students will now be free for all junior high events. So those were some of those big changes there. We do have the ability, and I haven't decided yet, I'll have to decide here yet this fall, we can make certain events, we could charge more money if we wanted to. For example, some schools are going to their all-day volleyball tournaments or their wrestling tournaments, charging $10 instead of the regular admission price. And if you think about that, unfortunately, it kind of makes sense, right? We're paying 4 officials, or you're paying 5 wrestling officials. You're there all day. You know, you go to any kind of an AAU tournament or something like that, you're spending a lot of money on admission. So again, those are things we do have control over, but our conference prices will be $7 for regular conference events. And then hopefully by the end of this week, early next week at the latest, we'll be running all of our passes through Bound as well. So our passes, we still have our adult pass, our student pass, and our punch pass. We have also added an option this year that we're calling a family pass. It'll be $225. That'll be good for 4 admissions to any event. We just figured with the rise in the cost for the tickets, we'll try to push the passes as much as we can towards our families and hopefully save people some money that way. As far as facilities go, obviously with our new complex, we've had a great spring and summer out there getting things started without things being done. But the bottom line is it's a great facility for our kids. We were able to run 2 track meets out there this spring, played soccer out there all year, baseball and softball all summer. Now we got football camp starting and marching band camp starting today. So it's been tremendous. We'll obviously get some things worked out and get things finished, but a lot of positive feedback from the kids, from the coaches, from spectators, not just our families, but families coming from out of town. A lot of good compliments. So it's been tremendous. We have had other people reach out to us, and we have rented the facility to other people. If you go back in early May, Penn State softball actually came and used our facility for a couple hours one day. That was a unique experience for us. They were coming to Iowa to play in the Big Ten softball tournament. They don't play on a lot of turf, so they found out we had turf. They called us. I said absolutely, and that was kind of neat. So we also hosted 5 other dates for other schools for baseball games when their facilities were just too wet. I think we're going to get a lot more of that in the future. So we're working out some specifics right now. We charged the schools to do that, but we didn't have anything set in stone to do. I believe it's on next board meeting's agenda, our facility usage fees. So we'll have something for that meeting that'll be more set in stone as to what we charge and how we do that. We also have had a group reach out to use our baseball field this fall for a fall league. So again, I think it's something that is going to continue to benefit us. The one comment I do remember that we talked about all along that this is going to be beneficial to the community. I think it was City High and Cedar Rapids Jefferson came and played a doubleheader baseball on a Friday night, I think it was. We didn't open the concession stand, and the amount of pizza that came in from, I think, 2 or 3 different places in town between games, people running to Casey's, people running to BP, that's the kind of benefit I think the community is going to see from people wanting to use our facility. We could, I checked with our boosters, asked them if they wanted to open the concession stand. They didn't any of those 5 games. So again, that's just something that either we're going to benefit, the community is going to benefit, or we're all going to benefit to be able to host those. So that was good. That was a good opportunity for us. We saw some really good teams. We hosted Cedar Rapids Kennedy, who was a 4A state champion. We hosted Solon, who was I think 1 game short of the state tournament. So, again, it's something that to be able to have a facility that people want to come use. Those are people reaching out to us. It's not us reaching out. We'll at some point we'll make that more public where we have that availability for all 3 of our fields. But that was them reaching out to us and just a great thing for us. We also had our gym floor repainted, so a brand new look this summer. If you haven't been in there yet, make sure you stop in there. It really looks sharp. We changed the look of it, so now the current logo that we have is actually on the floor instead of the old logo. The sidelines and baselines are thicker, are wider blue paint with West Liberty at both ends. We took some of the cross court basketball lines off the main court. So really when you see the main court, you just see the basketball lines and the volleyball lines. The cross court volleyball lines are obviously on there, but they're a very, very light shade, almost the same color as the floor. So when you're actually on the floor, you can see them, but when you're up in the bleachers, it doesn't really distract from your main basketball or volleyball court. So it's really, really nice look. Also some recent updates in the auditorium. This was working with Brian Rance and the foundation, installed a camera for ease of live streaming use in there. We also have some connections. I asked Brian what I was supposed to call these because I didn't really know, but connections on the stage for presenters. So instead of us having to have our computer up in the sound booth and trying to, click on something to change a slide, we can now plug in at the podium on the stage and do that. And also wireless mics for our plays and things like that. So a lot of good things as far as facilities go, obviously with the indoor facility. That'll kind of get rolling here with the design probably later this winter. But a lot of really good things with our facilities. Last year, we also kicked off the Common Activities Network. So in the past, we used a different company and outsourced that, and we got nothing out of it other than our games were covered. Now we get to keep all the advertising revenue. We played around with that, did a lot of different things. It was really good. There's certainly areas we can do better, and we'll continue to work to make those better. We will be live streaming everything through the Huddle Fan app. That is a free app. So in the past, we used our Huddle cameras and we were able to live stream through YouTube. Huddle no longer allows that. I don't get all the IT parts of that, but they came up with this Huddle Fan app, and so everything just gets live streamed through the Huddle Fan app. And again, that's free. Anybody can do that from anywhere. We will be looking for more sponsors this year. We'll be having better access next summer for baseball and softball games. We did do some this summer. I'll be honest, it wasn't the best product and it was inconsistent, but we kept playing around with things. We got a different camera. Huddle is now coming out with a baseball and softball camera, so that'll just be much easier for us to do in the future. And we were also, I don't know of anybody else, we were probably the first school in Iowa, maybe anywhere else, that live stream a golf meet. That was a little clunky because of the Wi-Fi, but again, by the end of the season, we got a lot better at it and did some good things. So we'll continue to build that. I've had a lot of businesses reach out and want to be a part of that. So that's good. Some future events coming up. These are things that, again, this I think speaks volumes to what people think of West Liberty and our school system. We will be hosting both the boys and the girls conference wrestling meets this winter. So those are two huge events that are going to be great for us. We will also be hosting, this was part of the reason we wanted this 8-lane track. We will also be hosting the 2026 RVC track meet. So there's now a 3-school rotation between Tipton, Monticello, and us. So Monticello will host this spring in 25. We will host next spring in 26. And then this Friday, the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union is coming down to tour our facilities. And our hope is that we'll get on a rotation for a state qualifying track meet as well. I don't know if that'll be spring of 25 or if they'll put us off one more year, but I know they're excited. They reached out again today to double check they were still on our schedule, and I said yes. So looking forward to kind of showing everything off to them. I reached out to the Boys Association. They said that they would stop in sometime, whatever that means. Other than that, just some basic things that we're still trying to work through on this athletic side. Obviously, the official shortage is still a huge problem. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. We have been fortunate at the varsity level. We haven't had a lot of problems. We have had to move/cancel some lower level games. We are, I would say, more fortunate just with our proximity to Iowa City. It's not a huge problem yet for us, but it's coming. You see a lot of other schools that are having more and more issues. And again, I'm not sure there's a lot we can do as a school district about that, other than, again, continue to encourage sportsmanship and officials then wanting to come back here and not say, nope, I'm never going back to that school because of this. And again, I think our spectators do a pretty good job when it comes to that. Transportation, I think, is an issue everywhere. And I know Sean and I talked a little bit today, and we're going to meet sometime next week about trying to recruit more coaches as bus drivers. Because again, when you look at the spring is our biggest time of year where we have the most activities going on buses. And when we have to take junior high track kids to a meet at 1:30 that starts at 4 o'clock, nobody wants that. We do it because we have to, but hopefully we can try to recruit more bus drivers and help solve some of that, that issue. We're down to very few coaching positions that are being left open, which is good. We have a couple of junior high football assistant coaching positions that are still open. Those have been open for a couple of years and haven't been filled. We do have some people that do volunteer, so it's not just Ian and Rocky by themselves. But other than that, at the high school level, I believe we have all of our positions filled currently. So, you know, that's always been a sticky point where you don't get as many applicants as you want, but we're in a good spot right now. So knock on wood, we'll keep all those spots filled. So other than that, I will entertain any questions that you have.
I guess for the app and stuff and the rollout, are you gonna have like working days for parents? I mean, that might not have the technology or just completely lost. Are you gonna have?
Yeah, so Thursday night is our all parent meeting, so hopefully we'll get a lot of that taken care of then. If not, we'll certainly invite parents in as this goes. Their kid has to be registered in order for them to participate. So we'll know by the end of this week with official practices starting next week who we need to start reaching out to. That's just me communicating with our coaches. They'll just kind of give me a handwritten roster. It's a good system in that now the office secretaries don't have to keep track of the concussion forms or physicals. That all gets uploaded and taken care of in this registration process. It's just a checkbox for the concussions and for our eligibility sheet that we came up with last year. And then the physical just has to be uploaded. That's probably going to be the biggest issue that we have, is somebody trying to upload the last signed page of their physical. So we'll be able to help with that. That's something I haven't gone over yet with the secretaries in the offices. It's something I'm trying to keep off of their plate as much as we can, and I'll just take care of it as it kind of comes.
And the, just as a parent, where's the concussion form at if you're not, like if you're, instead of at the school, is it like on the website? Cause I could not find it today.
It's in the online registration. When you register your kids for school, it's in one of those, it's one of those
Back to
documents.
backs.
In the online registration through Infinite Campus.
Okay. All right, I was just trying to find it on the forms.
Yeah,
Okay.
it used to be on the website, but now it's all in Infinite Campus. When you register your kiddo for
It'll
school,
pop up there.
It
Okay.
should pop up in that system.
Well, hopefully that'll help take care of some of your problems then.
It should. So knowing that now, students that are involved in activities will actually have to do, well, they'll do that twice because they have to do it in bound as well. So they'll do it for school. Then when they register in bound, it's a checkbox that you read it,
And some.
because we all have read it.
You have to submit it. You have to upload it.
And some of that is purposeful at the high school level. We have all students, just because of PE, do a concussion form. So that's why it's double. It's for your information.
Any other questions, Brad? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Full-time building substitute is the next topic here.
So this has come up a few times over the years, pretty much informally. And then towards the end of this summer, someone had inquired more in depth about just the possibility of having a full-time sub and what that would look like. And there's other districts around that have tried that or do have it. And so we decided to look into it a little more in detail, just to, what that would entail. So I had some conversations with people that have had subs, full-time subs, either in their district or like Kirk has worked previously and had full-time subs. I think Adam has had full-time subs where he was at. And it just enhances, I guess, what the sub can do for a building. So we've been looking at this, and I think what would, it would be beneficial and just helpful for each building to have the potential anyway to look into this and just to see if there's anybody that would be interested in being full-time substitute teacher for their building. We would start with just one person, kind of cap it at one per building to see how it goes. See if it works out well for the subs, see if it works out well for the buildings, for the principals, et cetera, coverage, and just go from there. I think there's a few benefits of having that. Obviously, one is just consistency, having that person report to a building every single day. Subs have a lot of flexibility. That might be why some people do subs, flexibility and not having to go in every day. But then this could also benefit those that do want to sub every day and have that set position. So it allows them that consistency, allows the buildings that consistency, and that, they know who that person is. They're familiar with that person. Students know who that person is. The subs probably end up knowing the kids and having relationships with those kids, and might even know the parents, and they know the other teachers and the parents that they're working with, et cetera. So the familiarity there, the relationships, consistency, or I'd say the big reasons, for looking into doing this. So what we would do is have basically them contracted to work the days that the students are here, so they'd be 180 days. And then we want to give them some kind of a little benefit of some sort, if they're committing to working every day. So we just are talking about that, decided 5 PTO days, then would be another thing that we would add on. So if they have, family things come up, doctor's appointments, whatever it might be, they would have some built-in PTO days that they could take as well.
But so they get paid though for the days that they actually work, or they get paid like a salary base, or is it gonna be a daily
180
base?
days at a per diem rate,
Per diem rate?
yes,
Which essentially is what like Kelly Dolpha has done the last few years, right?
correct.
So she was doing it at sub pay, and then should someone apply for this, they would then get some additional benefits. Because
Yes,
she was essentially here every day.
correct.
Okay.
There's 3 tiers of sub pay. If they just come in and sub one day, there's tier 1. And if you work over 9 days straight, you jump to tier 2.
Straight, you can work.
Or
It's just your 10th day of subbing in the district, you go up to tier 2 and you're there for the
yeah, thanks.
remainder of the school year.
And so where does the
You
pay
guys, the
for
3rd
this
tier.
180.
kind of, no, but where is
Oh.
It's
that?
it's the long term. What a long term sub would get paid, so, but this isn't technically a long term sub in how we normally view it, because a long term is for a specific teacher, for an
Gotcha.
extended.
Would they be available to take a long-term sub or no?
That would be at the building principal's discretion. So I would say, yes, they potentially could. I think one of the nice things for the building principals is that this person would report each day to the building. They might have something booked, they might not have something booked. I think it gives the principals a little more discretion as to, you have 2 classrooms maybe that need filled. And if I'm subbing, just in general terms, I can decide which job I want. Our principal could then decide, this is really where I need this person more, because I can easily figure out how to cover this other class. And maybe the other class is a very small class of students. This class is a full, 3rd grade classroom. So we can figure out how to cover this small class, break them apart, send them to other teachers, wherever it is. But they really need this class of 25 3rd graders filled or whatever. So it gives the principals a little more discretion on how to best utilize the substitute, fulfill the needs of their building as well.
We would do it for a whole academic year?
Yes.
But just on year to year.
Correct.
And the intention would be for each building to have one, or just one total, and then see how it goes.
I think, so we were talking about that a little bit. The intention is one building. I think most subs become, I don't want to say attached, but very familiar with a particular building, whether it be elementary, middle, or high school, and they have certain levels that they feel more comfortable with. So the original intention or thought is we would just allow it, we'd have potentially 3. So elementary could have one, middle school could have one, high school. They don't have to. Maybe no one applies, or, they don't, maybe don't find a good fit for their building. But could be that we have three, one in each spot.
There's no license requirement, like you don't have to be licensed for elementary, licensed for high school, licensed for a different grade,
Have to have their sub
just a sub in general.
authorization.
Okay, I thought there was levels.
That's not for sub off, as long as they're not subbing in the same, if they're subbing in the same classroom for an extended period, you have to have
Authorization or the,
you have to have an additional
Okay.
authorization. But for this person, it's meant for them to kind of be just to fill in wherever they need it that day, you know, say someone calls in sick at the last minute. And all the other sub jobs were booked, so this person will then take that probably, you know.
I guess I'm curious, what does the pool look like now for substitute teachers? And do you expect those to just flow into this or how does that transition?
I don't know if I have an expectation of that. I'd say on any given day throughout the year, or maybe you guys can help me out, but I'd say a 50 to 60% fill rate. That seem accurate.
Yeah.
We can always use more.
Yeah.
What's the, so you said the 180 is the rate that they would get paid after 9, or that's even a next tier up?
That's the tier 3. That's the highest tier of substitute pay that we have. It's like your long term. So we would just start this, since they're doing the full year, we just start them at the long term.
And what's the initial rate?
142.
I'm just trying to get some like basis for,
160,
147, 162.
47, 162.
Yeah.
And then tier 3 is, yeah, the long-term sub, which is, they have to be in the same classroom for 4 consecutive weeks, like for a normal long-term sub.
obviously it's not linear like this, but I mean, one thought process, if we fill all 3 at the 180 per day, 180 days, right? That's a liability of $97,200 in salaries for them. If, obviously, this is best case scenario, we're probably using people and putting them into tier 2 and 3, but if they was all tier 1 hours, that puts us at 76,680, which is a gap of almost $21,000 that this would incur. Let's give it $5,000 worth of negligence that it goes up to different tiers. So is it worth the additional $15,000 to have these people in place, or 5,000 per building? I guess we could break it down even further. Is that worth it not to have to chase this around? Can we find a way that substantiates?
The only thing I would say, Jake, to that math is I would almost be certain that it is higher. I think most of our subs, and you gotta help me out, but most of our subs are repeat teachers, right? I mean, they're the same subs that sub throughout the year. So pretty much all of them would have jumped up to that.
Tier 2.
Yeah,
If a teacher subs during their break, is it a different pay for that?
Hourly, per diem, or not per diem, an hourly. If they lose their prep.
If they lose their
They
prep,
get
is that?
$25 for covering if
Okay.
they lose their prep.
Which is roughly the same rate as the 180, right? It's like
Probably
2570 or something.
Yeah.
close, yeah.
The 180 is basically based off of beginning teacher, not with TSS included. So it's just that per diem rate basically is how we come up with 180. It's in the board policy 400 years. That just gets adjusted every year with our increase to the base.
Yeah, I
My
mean-
thought is that it's nice to, at least if they're committing to an entire year, to give them
Yeah.
five PTO days. I
Oh,
think
for
that's-
sure.
That would be a big draw for somebody to go from a sub to a long-term sub or a building sub.
And I guess just for our knowledge, does that also get them into the IPERS and all the other offerings, or are they still considered not really eligible for
Good idea.
healthcare and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they have to qualify for IPERS, so they have to make so much in 2 consecutive quarters. And then once they hit that, they receive papers.
And then they're on our eligibility for healthcare and such, or no?
No, they're not, they don't get that.
Gotcha.
So I just did a quick calc, it's about $12,000 difference. For three, if you did like 3 tier twos versus
Gotcha.
3. At that rate, so.
Did you say this position would get benefits or it still would not?
It
It's
still would
still a
not.
substitute. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
There's no hidden costs.
Yes.
That's kind of the
No,
thought.
I included IPERS and FICA in that calculation too,
Gotcha.
so. That's the extra cost they bring to the table.
It doesn't necessarily get us more subs, but it just guarantees we always have one.
Correct. Yeah, if we were to fill all three.
Sure.
So we're just starting with one, then, right? Is that right?
One at each building.
One in each building, and we'll see if they're interested. You know, again, I think part of the appeal to substitute teaching is the flexibility. This kind of takes away some of that flexibility, so we'll want to make sure they're clear of that too if we have applicants for this role.
So this action item that we're voting on, what does that trigger that you're gonna?
That allows us to post for this. So then we would post for these 3 positions and take applicants for those.
Um, I think the only thing that I would be. I guess I could reread this, but the only thing I would want. In this as kind of a rider is that we review it. On a annual contract basis for each of the 3 positions, not necessarily the posting, obviously, the action is, can we post? But I would think one of the actions that I would want involved in this is. That we review annually, all right, did it work out? You know, is this worth the money that we're putting into it? I'm assuming it probably will shake out, but I get real nervous tying us into a new position that we're not sure about yet. Yeah.
How does that work too? Like, does the, like, let's say we get one at each building, do they have to reapply every year? Or are they considered a teacher that as long as they're fulfilling?
It's a good question. I suppose it would work like our teachers. I mean, if if it was working out well, our principals would have to evaluate them. That would be given just as they do any other staff under the building principals. And then, yeah, if things are going well and they want to continue moving forward in that capacity, I would think we would renew. We feel it's working well as intended.
I guess I think we're kind of looking at it financially, but could you elaborate on the benefits that you see for the students to have this system versus what we have right now?
Yeah, you guys can feel free to chime in. Go ahead.
For example, in the spring, I would say we often are short subs or we have coaches who are leaving early, that sort of thing. And so teachers who normally have a 60-minute prep are losing their prep 5 times a week pretty easily. And so there's less opportunity for students to check in with teachers during their prep, less opportunities for them to sort of find that teacher if they want or need. And to be honest with you, sometimes teachers get really tired of losing their prep day after day, right? So that's, I think it alleviates some stress for our teachers, which in turn alleviates some stress for students. I also think that it's potentially one more adult that can make connections with students and build those strong relationships as someone they, would see on a daily basis. I think there's benefit to that, as well as a building sub, might be in a freshman class one day and a sophomore class, has a little more flexibility about seeing more of the students that I'm building. So just off the top of my head, a couple of things.
And from the elementary perspective, having somebody that's in the building every day that knows our systems and our structures and the expectations, not only benefits I mean, it's a huge benefit for students, right? Because it keeps that consistency for them, and for elementary kids, that structure and that consistency is huge in making their day a success, so many times. So, I mean, I think that that is one of the biggest benefits, in addition to what Brenda said as well at the elementary level.
And can you put drives a bus on here? and show
That's You're okay. You're all welcome to do that.
Oh, look at the time. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns on this?
I guess one thing I just want to add to is this, I think it truly would be kind of a pilot thing, because this is the first year and since I've been here that all positions have been filled. So many of our subs were taken up already by vacant roles that we didn't know what else to do. So I think that we'll also be able to see, like, are we able to cover more classes because we're not already using 3 subs to cover these different classrooms. So I do agree that it's not something we just want to put in place and not ever review again. But I think this will give us a good idea of how it will look, because, you know, I can see it being beneficial in that way.
All right. We would need a motion if we were to want to do this.
I would make a motion for that.
In a second,
I'd second it.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Obviously not opposed. So we're good to put that out there. Obviously, I guess maybe I'll add in the adder of we'd like to have it reviewed annually.
Yeah,
We're all in agreement on
for
that.
sure. Absolutely. Yep.
All right, next item is the hearing on the proposed use of save revenue for an athletic facility infrastructure project. So. Got some verbiage. I'm gonna open the hearing with, this is the time, place, and date to hold a hearing on the proposed use of save revenue for an athletic facility infrastructure project. Maybe I already said that, but it's in quotation marks this time, so it's different. And I am entertaining any public comment. Got it, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and declare the hearing closed at 6:43.5 or 6:44. We'll round up. So then the next item is a continuation of the same topic. Resolution supporting the proposed use of save revenue for the athletic facility infrastructure project. In the board packet, you'll find the specific language. It's all grandiose, I'm sure. And basically states that we're allowing for the opportunity to, oh wait, no, that's the next one. We want to go ahead with the project, then the next one is the dollars associated with it.
This is
that correct?
this is just to say that the board is allowing the district to use that save revenue for an athletic facility.
Gotcha. All right, I need a motion to support the resolution for proposed use of save revenue.
I'll make a motion.
A second,
I'll second.
and then we have a roll call vote.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Alpha,
Yes.
Moreno,
Yes.
Vargas.
Yes.
So thank you. And Abby, let me know if I need to slow down.
Nope, you're good.
Next item then is the hearing on a proposed issuance of approximately $11 million of school infrastructure sales, service, and use tax revenue bonds. This is the time, place, and date to hold a hearing for the proposed issuance of approximately $11 million school infrastructure sales, services, and use tax revenue bonds. Public comments? Oh, okay. That's opened at 6:45 and closed at 6:46 in the future. So that hearing is closed. Next item. Continuation thereof. The resolution that we need to have an action item on, or a motion for approval of the $11 million. I'm not gonna say it again.
I'll make a motion.
Words all in a row. And a second, please.
I'll second.
All right, roll call vote.
Hawken,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
Bellfeld,
Yes.
Moreno,
Yes.
Vargas.
Yes.
All right. Next item. This one is for the resolution fixing a date for a hearing. So this is what we did last time for this stuff.
Yeah.
For the conveyance of property to the city of West Liberty. Obviously in your packet, you've got all the details. For this action, the date of the public hearing will be August 19th, which is what, 14 days from now, 6 p.m. here. And then, this is for the old ELC building and the surrounding parcels at 111 West 7th Street. Questions, comments, concerns, or a motion to approve the hearing?
So that, in that hearing, is that when we will be exchanging like when you saw how that's like we exchange keys, is that the end of it? Or is there gonna be like another one?
I don't think there'll be another hearing,
No, after,
but then there'll be more steps. We'll
More
talk to the
steps.
attorney about finalizing then the contract or the deal.
Okay.
This will be your approval to move forward with the finalization, is my understanding.
Okay, so this is like.
So this is setting the hearing to hear the public's opinions, and then theoretically, right after, we have an action item to move forward or not, if.
Yeah.
we
it has
decide
to
not
be all
to,
set in
so.
stone at that point, I'm
Yes.
pretty sure. And
Yes.
then it'll be just paperwork.
Paperwork from the attorneys, yeah.
Cause like when, I was just curious, like when would the actual like. Physical like.
She's like, how
date-
soon can we get rid
Yeah.
of this thing?
I think
I didn't say it like that.
it's as soon as all of the paperwork gets finalized.
He said, as soon as,
Yeah.
yeah, he said, as soon as you get all the public hearings, all this done, and he said, reach back out, we'll get everything wrapped up.
Okay.
and
So it's
finalized.
more than one public hearing, so it's like this one, this 19th, and then there'd be like another public, okay, just that one.
It's just essentially like getting with the attorney on, I don't know, the deed, the title, getting all that paperwork,
We let Sean deal with
Completed.
that part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I'll,
Sean and Abby.
permission to do that. You have to have a public hearing. If
First,
it's Public
okay.
first, then you guys take that in, whatever the public has to say, then you decide. Then we can reach out, back out to our attorney and finalize them, get everything solidified and finalized. That makes sense.
It'd be great too. It'll be live streamed. We love a live stream, so we'll make sure that that's out there for everyone. So with that being said, we need a motion to approve the resolution for fixing the date for
I'll
the
make a
hearing.
motion.
In a second,
I'll second.
and roll call vote again.
Hawken.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes,
Bellfeld, yeah, Moreno,
Yes.
Vargas.
yes.
man, we are on a roll with the roll call vote. All right, so next item, consent agenda. Bus driver recruitment bonus.
So Adam alluded a little bit to this in his presentation to you. Right now, we're currently, say, 2 drivers short. Like, right, we have 9 full-time routes in our district. And within about a 2-week period, we lost 2 drivers. One to personal issues, and then one to, I guess, work closer to home. That just happened the past couple weeks, so 2 drivers down. Rogers reached out to one of the subs who has agreed to pick up one of the routes, and he feels he can combine the 9th route. He's gonna obviously double check. I'll have to go out and drive, check on times, so that we don't have, children on the bus too long. But he's pretty confident he can make that work. But that leaves us still, now we've lost a sub to a full-time driver, and then we're just down to 2 subs. Just, if everything is rolling good, everybody's healthy, our subs are healthy, our drivers are healthy, we should be just fine getting through the year. But, if you have anybody out for any reason, all of a sudden your subs are utilized, or if your subs are out, you don't have, and then you have a driver calling sick, we could be in quite a pickle. So just been talking with Roger about playing out some of those scenarios, trying to be as prepared as we can, while also being, just doing what we can as well to recruit, hopefully find, some drivers, whether it be, staff that are willing to get there, Class B, CDL to help out at times. Coaches who might be willing to obtain that, to help out with driving routes, or excuse me, driving activities. Activities get to be quite a task, Roger, to schedule those, especially in the spring. There's 5, 6 events going on at the same time, and we need to run routes. So we have drivers hauling kids, trying to figure out how we're gonna get the routes covered. And so when you're short staffed, that becomes quite a daunting task. We don't want to get to a point where, we have to ask parents to drive, or, creative where I really don't know what the good solutions are out there. We're leaning on other drivers from other districts before, but that's hard because everybody's needs their drivers, and it's not like, I don't know if too many places have an abundance of bus drivers. So we were just talking about potential ideas that maybe would help us to lure in some potential drivers. So a recruitment bonus was something that we thought that, all of our staff could take advantage of, or our staff, probably have just broaden that network, just broaden that possibility of potential people and the potential applicants. So we're hoping maybe this $1,000 bonus will entice somebody to have a conversation with somebody they know, that spurs somebody to come in and apply, and it ends up getting us a bus driver we can have here for the year. Then the bonus would go out at the end of a successful year for that driver. We've been looking, even just to figure out honestly what these drivers need to do. The state has put so many regulations and rules and mandates, and they've increased some of the seat time and the online learning. It is quite a cumbersome task for these potential drivers, especially if they've never had a CDL. All of a sudden they decide they'd like to drive. There's about 4 or 5 tests that they have to take at the DOT. Then they have to get a permit. And after you get a permit, they have to go through ELBT training. They go through this training, then they have to do more driving, or practice driving through that training. Then they would have to get their then go back to the DOT, take another driving test. And if they pass that, there's a 17-hour driving after your first year, or within your first year. I think it might be within the first 6 months, and you have to pass a 17-hour test after doing all the other preliminary work, just to have your Iowa certification. And then after that, it's a 3-year class for renewal each year. So they have to go through a lot just to get in that driver's seat. So, the district is hoping this helps bring some people in, and, and we're willing to help offset those costs too for those people, and pay for their trainings, and do whatever we can to support them, because it is quite a bit, and putting in a lot of time and out of pocket money too, just to potentially be a bus driver.
Is there are the classes up and down for it still too? A lot of them times that we're up and down for the classes.
There's some over at the Quad Cities. That's the other hard part.
It's like in Loveland
finding-
area. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like MCC off. So we've reached out to MCC, and MCC does CDL classes. We were talking to them about hopefully starting out bus driver certification. So CDL, like to drive a semi class A, buses class B. So we were hoping that they would get something worked out there, but as of right now, it's still, from what I've seen, it's just still your class A manual transmission or automatic transmission. It's like a $5,700 course. A seat time, it's 4 weeks worth of giving up. I think it's half days, 4 weeks, half days, Monday through Friday commitment to get that training. So I mean, just anybody that has a job, I don't even know how they'd be able to do that. First of all, there was a place they found that does a night class, but that was, I think, up in Waterloo or somewhere up in that area. Well, that's not really, that'd be a tough drive for anybody to go up there for, 2, 3, 4 weeks at night, every day, Waterloo and back. I mean, it's just asking these people to do a lot, to help us out to be bus drivers. So I think the best route we've found is, you can go to Muscatine, you can take classes online. So if you had studied up or had a pretty good idea ahead of time going into that test, kind of like a driver permit test, go up there, take your test, get your permit. And then you could go, there's a place up in, it's through Gold Line, that's what the company's called, up in Manchester. And so you could go up there for 1 day and do this EDTL, or I can't remember the acronym, but anyway, it's new driver training. But if you can successfully pass that and go through that in a day. Now, this is after having your permit and practicing and working, around here with the local driver, building your skill set. Then you could go with them, and they have to bring the bus up to Dubuque and bring their trainer up to Dubuque. You'd meet them up there, practice a little bit, take the test up there, hopefully pass, then you're certified. Then you have that 6-month or year grace period to then complete the other DOT training at 17-hour course. So that's about the easiest route I've been able to find.
Wow.
Sure, that's the truth. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is. It is mind
So
boggling.
how do we get bus drivers in the first place? mean,
I
my
can't remember,
They
goodness.
just made it harder.
Yeah.
Did we increase our pay for, I can't remember.
We did.
Just right?
Yes. I'd say we're pretty competitive with other districts around us.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It sounds like it's enough red tape that we couldn't even figure out how to staff somebody that can be certified to, because then, A, that's a revenue source, right? We can hire them out to somebody else, but then we could source our own, but.
And then there's like the personal skills, right? To interact with kids and.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I drive.
You drive?
No.
I would not drive a bus.
By the time we
Go to
leave.
Canada.
We'll have-
Sean's jumping at any opportunity to it right now.
Sounds remotely close.
Is it the same train for the kids? that
Yeah,
send
you are
campus?
desperate.
No, because they'll have to go as far, right? There's no way those CAN bus drivers at the university have that much training. I mean, I'm just saying that, the way you almost took out something the other day, I just can't imagine those college kids have that, but I mean.
They are driving, go to the Lineage parking lot and do like a couple around.
Yeah, but I think
They're
that's all they do,
hired.
right? That's all they do, is they have a campus.
Yeah, I mean, they.
But they
gotta
must
be
not
back
have to do the
every
same
year.
training. They
Yeah,
must
they
not
would
have
be
to do
able
it.
do it.
Yeah, the way I've seen them drive, there's no way they're passing that thing.
Campus
In the city.
and the hospital.
Ty would agree with me, right, that those bus drivers on campuses are not.
Ty doesn't ride the
Oh, my.
campus, never, he walks for
Yeah.
that reason.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
Yes, yeah, so I don't think that they go through that training, but it might be because they're just going around in a loop.
All right, so
That's just part of, we just have it as part of consent agenda.
Right.
Along with personnel, so the motion would be
For
for
the
everything
entirety.
unless there's something you guys would want to approve.
right.
Right.
So that's just for bonus to the staff member who recommends, the person pays off in a year. Any more questions about that topic? Okay. Personnel.
So. Bus drivers that we mentioned, para retirement and then, few new hires, quite a few paras, that guidance counselor, that's something that's not a new position. I mean. I don't know, something slipped through the cracks and it was, it should have been on an earlier board agenda, so. Just so you know, it's not just like something we got hired.
I'm excited that it's Carla, that is pretty cool, I'm
Yeah,
really excited
sounds
it's
really
Carla.
great. And Ruben.
Yeah, and that's good.
That's
too.
really nice.
Yeah,
So.
got some local people.
All right, the entire consent agenda, bonus and personnel are included in the motion that I need for this.
Oh.
And a second,
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Future agenda items, the next board meeting will be August 19th. We'll have the consent agenda reviewing the facility usage fees and then also having the hearing, the public hearing for the conveyance of the property to the city of West Liberty. So, as always, anything you want added, let us know. We'll get it in there. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn them.
Make a motion.
In a second.
I'll say.
All fair say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Thanks. Closed at 7:11.